Welcome to the Tea of Life podcast, where our mission is to transform every attitude of life by encouraging and equipping you to live the life you love and love the life you live. I am your host, Tiffany Thompson. Today, I am inviting Carolyn Penner in on the conversation with me. Carolyn was our interviewee from episode number 23, and she has actually been one of my very best friends since we met back in 1991 while working at the Home Depot. So Carolyn and I have been through lots and lots of adventures together. We have lots of stories to tell, and we could probably sit and entertain you for hours. I actually had to do quite a bit of editing throughout this conversation because we just continued to talk and talk and talk. You will hear in the background a little baby, which is actually one of the most precious babies I think that I have ever seen, of course, other than my own. But his name is Wrigley, and Carolyn was actually watching him today, and he is the son of a girl named Gina, who I'm actually trying my hardest to get on the podcast. She is a mom of 6, so she has 4 biological children, and she's adopted 2 on top of that, and she just has such an amazing story, and I really am looking forward to hopefully getting her on the podcast sometime when she is able to work it out in her very, very busy schedule. So you will actually hear Wrigley, who is her youngest. He'll be in the background. So Carolyn and I talk about being the parents of newborns and teenagers, and sometimes how we feel a little overwhelmed. And a lot of times that feeling of overwhelmedness actually comes from outside sources rather than our children themselves. We talk a little bit about that. As I begin this conversation, it's going to be already in progress. So we're going to go ahead and start that now. So your kids are 13,
10,
and
8.
8. So no more babies.
No more babies. How does that happen so fast? And everybody tells you that it's going to happen, but
it does
when
happen
you're in
fast.
the middle of it.
It does happen fast. I find that right now, like with my kids being 16 and almost 13, be 13 next month, I have a lot more time on my hands.
Yeah.
Because they're at a place where they don't need mom so much. And like you were saying before, we want to work ourselves out of a job, right?
Yeah.
And so, I found that I have more time. I still need to be present. I still need to be available. Mm-hmm. So I can't go too far.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I found that I just I have more time on my hands, and I don't know what to do with it. And I'm finding that I'm like, okay, I'm not needed. But I found that I really found a lot of my identity in being a mom, but also being a homeschool mom.
Yeah.
And now they're at the point to where they're basically they're on their own. I'll, give them what to
Get
do,
them started,
and they do it. They know how to self-start in the morning. They know how to get themselves, through their lessons. And then I have Gabriel now, who we're looking at possible college dual enrollment, and we're working toward that. I know.
Imagine that.
I know. And so that means that he would be that one more step out the door.
Yeah.
To where I find that I'm it's difficult. It's been difficult because I'm trying to find who I am, and also the past couple of years have been challenging in other ways. Mm-hmm. And so I've been finding myself
trying to find that balance.
Right. I've been finding myself that way, and then also now finding myself here. It's just who am I? It
is. It's like a total identity,
right.
Like you're shedding.
Right.
It's almost like shedding a layer.
Right.
And it is. It's a little I don't know. It's just, I find myself having to be really thoughtful about, okay, what is my role? Because it does. I feel it changes from year to year. You're like, okay, this kid needs this. This one still needs this. How do I balance that? And then the other people that need you.
Right.
The ones that you can't just say no to. Mm-hmm. The ones,
Right.
Yeah, specifically with my parents, I have to help. I'm the only, I'm the stay-at-home mom out of my sibling. I'm the closest child that they have that can transport them to their doctors and things like that. And, it's where is that balance between my parents and my family, and how do you not get lost in that? Right. I feel like there's a boundary that I need to set, but I don't know. I think I need help with that. I think
Counseling.
Need some counseling.
Counseling,
Yes.
counseling is good.
Yes,
And then
so
you
I
can,
know
Yeah,
what-
and then once you get done with that, you can move on to a good therapist, and then just continue with that. So
Let me start
I'm
my
speaking from
savings plan.
experience
Yes.
here. Get a good life coach to have in your.
I am all about somebody just saying, yeah, this is good. It's okay to say no to that, but this is because I feel like there's some things, I love. Did you do that Bible study, The Best Yes, by Lisa Turkers?
No, but I've heard about it.
It was life-changing for me.
Okay.
Because I feel like I don't know if it was growing up in the South or just how I grew up. I don't know. And I don't know that anybody ever taught me this, but I just kind of have always been like, if somebody asks you for help, you help them. But like, that's not always your best yes.
Right.
Doing certain things, not saying no to anybody that asks you for help, but like, there may be some situations where you just have to say, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing, because if you're saying yes to everything, you might be missing out on something that God has called you,
Right.
like really wants you to be involved in. And so that book was just really freeing for me to know that it's like I don't have to do everything and
Right.
like kill myself,
Every time you
trying
say
to,
yes, you're also saying no.
Yeah.
Every time. And even when you say no, you're still saying yes to
Yes,
something. So
yeah.
you have to figure out what is more important to you, what
Priorities.
your priorities,
Boundaries. Yes.
where you want to see this end up, or where you want to see yourself end up. Because
And
it's
your
not only
energy.
about the present, because every one of those yeses lead to something in the future as well. And where do you want to be? Do you want to be stressed out and overwhelmed and completely full of anxiety and, probably suffering from health problems from that as well? Or do you want to be have a healthy mindset,
to where you can successfully help and be part of what you're supposed to be part of.
Right.
Yeah, because I found myself just running myself into the ground, and then I'm not good for anybody. Mm-hmm. It's like the oxygen mask thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if I can't breathe, I am not going to be
You put
much
the
help
oxygen
to my
mask on
kids.
yourself before you put it
Yeah.
on your child, typically.
Why is that so
Right.
hard? I think we just kind of naturally think that we just have to run ourselves. Well, I did.
Well, I think too, like growing up, I was taught, don't you say no to me, or don't you whatever.
yeah,
And so I think that a lot of us growing up learn to not say no to where we say yes. And I've read where that could be really detrimental, because no matter, like if we teach that at a young age and don't allow our kids to say no, then we are teaching them to say yes. And then eventually when they become teenagers, they say yes to even more things, and then we
Yeah.
wonder, why are you saying yes to this? Well, it's because they've always been taught that they can't say
Right.
no. They have those natural boundaries to where we need to understand that they do need to be able to say no, so that when they get older, they're used to saying that word.
Yeah.
We see it with our teenagers, giving themselves away too early. Teach them how to say no. We see it, in adults, maybe in finances. Financially, they need to be able to say no to whatever it is that they want in order to say yes to financial freedom.
And know that it's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And they need to be able to say no to peer pressure.
I think she said this in the book. When you get asked something, learn how to say, I would love to, but I can't. And so it's so, like, just that phrase has been so freeing to me, because I know, like, last year I was on the PTA board at the elementary school.
Oh, bless you.
My soul. Like, it was a lot.
I've never done that, but I can only imagine. I've heard really, really
It was a
big
lot
stories.
of fun. And everything I'm involved in, I enjoy. Like, I really enjoyed doing that. And I really enjoyed being involved with Scouts and being, the different roles that I was
Right.
playing. And I was good at it. But then when you pile all that stuff together,
Right.
I can only be so good.
Like, what was that saying, jack of all trade, master
Yes.
of none? Yeah.
Holy moly. So I would end up getting stressed and then resenting, whatever it was that I was working on. And like, I don't want to be like that. So then when my youngest started going to the other school with his brothers, sure enough, that call came. And they can sense who the people that will volunteer, and which is great. I love helping and I like being in my kids' school and stuff, but I got the call, we've got, I need help with this committee and would you be willing? And with the doctor's appointments that I had to take my parents to and things like that, I just feel like I need a little more flexibility and I don't need to commit to as much things like up front. Like I can help with individual projects throughout the year on a week by week, like what does this week look like? Yes, I can come into the class and do this or that. But I literally, when I was talking to the girl who called me, I was literally felt like I was sitting on my hands. Like I so badly wanted to be like, sure, I'll do it and that'll be fun, And then in my head, all I could hear was just say no. Just say no. Nope. You got to say no. So I felt like and I told her, I said, because she's one of the ways she put it, she was like, we're trying to get some new volunteers so it's not the same 12 people doing every event, which I totally get because I just finished up and I told her, I said, I'm coming out of a year of being a co-vice president who was one of the 12 people at the other school. Right. And I cannot make that commitment right now. And I literally felt like there was the little angel and the devil sitting on my shoulders. I was like, I had to get off the phone with her really fast. But then you also
feel a sense of rejection when you say that, right? Do you feel like that person is actually cringing or kind of rejecting you, and then you hang up and you're like, oh my gosh, I was just rejected because I said no to her. And then that brings on a whole nother
even
set of
now,
emotions.
When I'm in the school.
Because we don't want to be rejected.
No. And I want to help. Right. I mean, I love doing it. I love being in the school. And seeing what the kids are doing. And I love it when the kids are like, hey, so-and-so's mom, or, and I'm like, oh, hey, and, it's just, I love that. But I'm no good, if I'm taking my parents to their doctor and I'm resentful about what I could be doing, or, I'm missing out on time with my parents, not being fully present.
Right.
And then I'm missing out with my kids not being fully present. And my brain is all over the place. So I don't want to be doing something with the wrong intentions or the wrong motives or just the wrong attitude even. Right. I want to be like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is,
Literally, like I said, we have a 16-year-old now who will be 17 in January, and yesterday he was 5.
Yeah.
And it's like these years have passed by so incredibly fast. But when you're in it, you feel like they're just going so slow, especially when you're in the
like
infant
5
age.
and under.
Yeah.
Well, somebody warned me. They said, I remember several people saying, wait till they start school, wait till they start school. And I was like, well, what's the big, but I really feel like when Lane started school, like the other two were behind him. I feel like he just yanked a rope and just started pulling. And it was just like, wait,
pulled them both at the same rate.
How did my I don't feel like his first 5 years went as fast as the little ones did.
Right.
I'm like, wait, what? And and I do not regret the days that we spent on the couch watching Clifford and Word Girl.
Not at all.
I remember my coworker, when I was leaving for maternity leave, she said to me, she said, you're making the right choice. You can always come back and work. She's like, you cannot get those years back. Right. And and there were so many days that I was in my pajamas. Right. I don't know when I showered. I don't know if I brushed my teeth, but.
I'm still not sure about that.
Good night.
But that has nothing to do with
my
kids.
Is my natural deodorant working? I know.
I'm a part of, because we're a homeschool family, I'm a part of these homeschool groups, and a lot of them are on Facebook. And so I'm constantly seeing like these posts from parents or from moms who are also homeschool moms who have younger children who are maybe like 3 and 4 years old, who are saying, I want to start my kid on a curriculum. What can I do? I want to start my kid, in 4 years old. I want to go ahead and start them in kindergarten because I feel like they're prepared. Or maybe they're 5 and they want to go ahead and start a first or second grade curriculum. Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, slow down.
It's going to,
just stop. It'll be okay. And you can always tell when it's the first kid that they're putting through the homeschool. Yeah. Because the second one basically gets whatever the first one gets,
Yeah.
But I'm just like, it's okay. Like, don't don't start this too early. Like just
Once it starts,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
you can't. It's
and
like
I-
a
and they're
locomotive.
so eager to just, get my kid. I want my kid to walk. I want them to, whatever before they're one. Well, no, it's really okay if they do it when they're,
Yeah.
if they're after one. Like it's okay. Just
What would
slow
you?
down.
Okay, so here's a question for you. What if you could go back and tell yourself, like, give yourself some advice in those 5 and under years? What would you like? Do you think about your frame of mind when you have all those outside voices going? Are they potty trained? Do they, do they drink milk? Do they,
Right.
are they sufficient with, what are they, and you're just like, oh, wait, like they're supposed to be potty trained, they're supposed to be this, and they're supposed to
Right.
know their alphabet, and they're supposed to be writing,
Right. I think that I would probably tell myself that everything comes naturally to just relax.
Yeah.
That they're not going to go to kindergarten in diapers.
Yeah.
Unless there's something,
Yeah.
Wrong
And
or
who
whatever.
cares if they do?
But they're going to be fine. And if you don't want to wean them off at a year for milk, it's okay.
Yeah.
They're eventually going to see you drinking out of a cup, and they're
they'll
not
be
going to want that
fine.
bottle anymore.
Yeah.
If they, they're going to eventually realize that they don't like the feeling of a wet diaper.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things actually when
Potty training.
When my first one, we went through the whole, he should be potty trained. He's 2, he should be potty trained. And when are you going to potty train him?
Who says that? I think people
he's 2 and a half.
forget.
Oh my goodness, he's not potty trained. So I'm thinking he's my first kid, and I'm thinking,
there's
oh my
something
gosh,
wrong with
there's
him.
something wrong. Like
Why
I'm not
doesn't
doing
my
this
kid-
right. So I would try to potty train him, and unfortunately, there were times where I spanked him.
I did
And
too.
I
know. I feel
regret that
horrible
so
about that. He's
badly.
a boy.
But
For the
then
love
something
of Pete.
clicked in me, and I was done with all the outside voices.
Yeah.
And I was pregnant with my second, of course, so I know that my hormones were probably
yeah.
completely out of control at this point too. But I was done with the outside voices, and
Mm-hmm.
I said, he will get potty trained when he's ready. And I just had that feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit or whatever, but I just had all of a sudden had that feeling.
Yeah.
It'll happen when he's ready.
Take a breath.
So I just backed off. I didn't do anything. Didn't do anything else. And literally, he was like 3.5. Mm-hmm. He decided one day, hey, you know what? I think I'm done with diapers.
Yeah.
And like 3 days later, he was done.
Thank you, Jesus.
And that was it. So then I thought, oh my gosh. And of course, I'm thinking back and I'm regretting all those times that I disciplined him because he didn't do it.
Or you got frustrated. Yeah.
Right. And so then when the second one came along, I remembered that and just did it on his own time. And of course, there are all those outside voices. And I remember he would go into another room to mess up his diaper.
Yes. Oh.
And I remember somebody specifically said, if he's smart enough to do that, then he doesn't need to be wearing a diaper. He needs to be going on the potty. This was, of course, someone who did not even have children at the time.
Wasn't me, was it?
No, it wasn't
okay.
you.
I was like, I didn't say that.
No. So...
Well, that's when you're the
Yeah.
perfect parent.
Right.
You're perfect. You're the
When you don't-
perfect
before you had
parent when you
children.
don't have any kids.
But I backed off and I just let him go on his own. And same thing. He decided one day and then
Yep.
that was it.
It is.
And it was about 3.5 again. So,
Oh, but 3.5 in diaper. Oh man.
my
I
gosh.
remember somebody at church even said, you know what, girl? It is so much easier when they're in diapers. I would not rush it. And I remember thinking, she is so right.
Yeah.
Because, you can sit in it a little longer until we get to the next exit. you
Right.
know? Praise God I have boys,
Oh,
just
yeah.
open the door.
there's a bottle.
I know.
Aim well.
We keep a cup in our car to this day. There's something about carpool
Oh,
line.
we used to travel with one of those travel
with a porty,
potties.
a porty. Did you say a porty? A porty?
Yeah,
A porta
yeah.
potty? Yes.
One of those little travel potties, and it had like little bags, and it collapsed down. It was the coolest thing. It collapsed down.
Yeah.
And then you would like pull out the
This is
the
making
potty
me have to
part.
go potty.
I'm agreeing with that because I have to go now too. But and then they would have like these little disposable bags you would put
you
over
just
it,
tie it.
and they would just sit in the back of the van and go.
Yeah.
Tie it off, throw it in the trash can.
We didn't have
And
the
go.
bags. We would dump, which I'm sure that we would dump, and then I kept wipes, and then I would wipe it out, and then I don't remember after that.
My kid, my firstborn was about maybe 5 or 6 when he learned how to clean up the bathroom.
I remember. I
for the
remember
first
you
time.
telling that story.
He learned how to scrub the bathroom from top to bottom,
yes.
everywhere.
Mine.
Yeah,
I
because-
remember buying the supplies, and they were like all excited. Well, my oldest one was. He was like all excited. I'm like, sweet. They know how to do it now.
Yeah.
I keep a big bath towel behind the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
And then one of those mats jammed up against
Yeah.
the toilet. So I'm sure when people come over and use their bathroom, they're like, what?
Yeah, so I think along with that, another thing that I wish that I would have been told is that this is not your forever. Because when you're in the infant stage, when you're in the little stages, you feel like almost this is your forever.
Yeah.
That you're never going to have another conversation with another adult again.
Yeah.
And it just goes by way too fast.
Yeah. I kind of wish I could go back and have the conversation with a 3-year-old, you know? I just think about those days that Lane spoke so early that I could have conversations with him. Like, he kept me company and sang most days, you know? When I went from working in corporate America where there was all this noise and all these adults to, you know, being with this child, you know, as my 24/7, you know, and then when Scott would travel for work and be gone,
Right.
you know, man.
Yeah, he would be gone for a week
Yeah.
or more maybe, and you had this infant at home by yourself.
I do miss those days of PBS and waffles.
Do you ever put PBS on in the background just
We don't
because?
get PBS.
Oh, you don't? we downloaded it onto because there's a PBS app.
Okay.
So we downloaded the app because we don't get PBS either.
Okay.
So every once in a while I'll put on Curious George and I'll just have it in the background. 'Cause
Curious
I just
George is
love
awesome.
it. I love I love the whole PBS I don't
PBS
know.
Kids!
Yeah, PBS
Yay!
Kids. I know. I love it. So.
Right. Well, even sometimes, the boys will watch. I've got Curious George DVDs in the van, you know, and they'll watch them. And I think even Lane, he probably would not admit it to his friends, but he enjoys and he likes the nostalgia of that, just because there's good stuff. Like the writers of Curious George, you know, they know that parents are obviously gonna. I think it's entertaining, you know.
I do.
I love sitting in. That's probably one of the few times that I can actually relax at home is if I go into the TV room on a Friday night with the kids. Let's have movie night, you know. And I'm like, part of that is for them, but a big part of that is for this is the only way I'm going to be able to put all that stuff ignore the rest of the house. And I love that. You know, we'll find some random movie and I can watch some Polar Express, man.
Oh yeah,
love
Gabriel and I have the Once Upon a Time. Do you know that show, Once Upon a Time?
No.
It was on TV, a drama series on TV called Once Upon a Time.
With the apple? Is that the one? Okay, yeah. Oh, and it's
and so
all
it's
the
Disney.
Disney.
It's not really Disney, but it's fairy tale
princess.
characters.
Okay, yeah.
But they've come to life, and they have this whole storyline and how
kinda
they all.
spooky. Is it spooky?
It is a little bit. I mean,
gonna
because
freak me out when I'm
there's
camping?
magic, but there's all that in the Disney movies as well.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's just the grown-up
It's just
version.
it is.
Yeah.
But we got into that a long time ago when it was actually on TV, and so we would sit and watch it every time it would come on. But then we got behind, and then those went to Netflix.
Okay,
so now
you
we
can
sit
binge
and
watch.
binge watch, and so Gabriel
Awesome.
and I will binge watch this show, and we had taken a break a little bit, but then this week, a couple nights ago, we sat and we binge watched 4 or 5 episodes together. And so that's our thing that I love to sit with my 16-year-old, you know, and we watch the show. So anyway, that's actually, it's like a bonding experience with me. It's something that we can kind of have in common and we can connect and everything. And so we talk about it and I'll
And
pause
you probably
it.
get into it too.
And
You're like, come
oh
on.
my gosh, I love it. And so because there's it's like a web of stuff that you have to
and you
figure
know
out and how it's all connected and stuff. So I'll pause it and I'll go, okay, wait, now hold on a second. Are they saying that Rapunzel is and that she and then there's Cinderella and that are okay and Gabriel's like, yeah, I think that's what they're saying. And so it's like we sit and we have this conversation about it too.
Yeah.
And so
that's nice of you to pause. I just talk over
Oh.
it. And Lane's
Sometimes
like,
I'll
if you were paying
rewind.
attention, I'm like, I am paying. Because ours is The Flash.
we love The Flash.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
he got me sucked into The Flash.
yeah.
I'm like, we've got there's like 50 episodes
Yeah.
per season. I'm like, what?
Uh-huh.
And you get sucked in. I'm like, I gotta find out what happened to Killer Frost.
I know, right?
I want to be Killer Frost.
Yep, so
Oh
we're
my
into The
word.
Flash
I love
as well.
The Flash.
We do that. We'll sit and binge watch that.
Lane's like, the new season came out. I'm like, we're going to have to wait till March. That, and then what was the other? Oh, Series of Unfortunate Events. Have you
I
watched
haven't
that?
seen that, no.
It is the craziest show, but you get sucked in. So I'm like, I gotta find out what happens to this family of kids. Where are their parents? And it's fun that that we can all watch things like that. But yeah, that's Lane's treat. Is I'll put the 2 younger boys to bed, and Lane and I will stay up and watch The Flash. But we've kind of hit a bump because we got to wait for the new season.
So you're
to
all
come
caught
out.
up.
So
Yeah.
okay, so you know how like The Flash will be like Arrow will come in, and then Supergirl. I did not realize that they all had their own shows too.
Oh,
so there was
really?
one oh my stars. Oh. So there was one episode, they're like, to be continued. Well, it was continued on Supergirl or the Arrow, so we had to go find the episode and all the seasons to find out what happens. So now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I really like Arrow and Felicity. And I'm like, so they're at school one day. I'm like, I'm gonna watch TV while they're at school, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch the Arrow. So I've started. Now I'm stuck on
Oh my
Arrow,
gosh. Oh my
trying to
gosh.
figure out where he came from, what his story is, and I'm like all into that. And then Lane the other night was like, can we watch Supergirl or one of the ones? And I'm like, so now, good grief. I'm all in this web of characters, good times, but it's fun.
That's actually going to be the end of our podcast today. As you probably can tell, our conversation just continued to go on and on and on. But Carolyn and I have been friends for a really long time, and we can sit and chat for hours without taking much of a breath. But I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode, and I hope that you maybe got a little bit of encouragement to understand that whatever stage of motherhood you are in right now, this is not your forever. It may seem like it, but it's not. It will change tomorrow. Everything will be different. Also, know that you are enough for your kids. Know that God gave those kids to you because He knew that you would be the perfect mom for them. Don't allow outside influences to continue to make you feel inadequate or to make you feel less than the mom that you are. Love your kids the best way that you know how to do, and that is all they need. If you like Tea of Life podcast and you have 2 friends who want to create the life that they love to live, tell them about us. Find us on your favorite social media platform like Facebook or Instagram. Also, right now, before you forget, go to Apple Podcast or Google Play and search for Tea of Life Podcast. Hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode. Thank you for listening to Tea of Life Podcast. We'll see you next Wednesday.